I wasn't originally going to do a chapter on stress, but it occurred to me that with this demographic, our age group, kind of a lot going in most of our lives, complicated, chaotic, difficult to get to the gym. Stress just in general sometimes just seems to be out of control. I take shots a lot at the 20-something crowd about how they think their life is so stressful and it's so chaotic, and oh, I'm so stressed about this final. That's not the stress I'm talking about. I will agree that when you're 20-something and your parents are paying all your bills, or you've got, financial aid and loans and stuff to help you get through college so that you don't have to work, or you work part-time, that exam probably seems really stressful. But I'm talking about later, when you graduate from college and you get into the real world, and you've got a mortgage, and you have a real job, not even a job, but a career, or you're running a business, or a couple of them. You've got kids. Doesn't matter if you've got 4 or 6 or 1. Kids are kids, and they're still incredibly stressful. Makes getting everything you need to get done during the day very, very difficult. In fact, I always say, I always feel really good when I get to the gym. It's an obvious stress reliever, especially when I'm done. But getting to the gym is just one more added stress sometimes in a day where I need about 36 hours instead of 24. So I think we all, or most of us, have a very long list of things to do every day. Things that are important, we prioritize them. The important shit's at the top. Stuff at the bottom is still important, but it usually gets pushed to the next day. So it's kind of an ongoing list. I don't know about you guys, but I don't get the shit done on my list in one day that needs to be done. It's just an ongoing, overlapping type of list. So I wanted to touch base with you guys on basically 2 angles of stress. One being the day in, the day out. It is what it is. I mean, we all deal with stress in one form or another, to one degree or another. The other thing is the health aspect of it. And for those that don't know, I will give the Cliff Notes version so as to not drag this out any longer than I need to. But I have shingles, or had shingles. I now have PHN, which is post-herpetic neuralgia. The simple explanation for that is when I got shingles in 2000, when did I get it? 2004. Yeah, 2004. 2003? God damn, it was one or the other. 2003 or 2004. The point is, it doesn't matter. It's been either 12 or 13 years, and I'm going to take it to my grave, and it blows. It sucks really bad. Anyway, I got shingles so bad that it caused damage to the nerve branch around the left side of the top part of my abs and around to my lat, all the way to the spine. It actually comes off of the spine. The nerve is confused, essentially. So every 20 to 30 seconds of my life, whether I'm sleeping or not sleeping, no matter what I'm doing, it itches and it hurts at the same time, and I get every 20 to 30 seconds I get kind of a pulse where it feels like maybe someone is shocking me. So if you're ever talking to me, standing in front of me, or you know me well and we've interacted quite a bit face to face, and you see me kind of roll my shoulder or maybe even scowl, that one's just worse than the other one. So if I move, it kind of helps to dissipate the pain a little bit. The point that I'm getting at is this was after a show. So I had some aches and pains after a show. I had another show to do 2 weeks later, so I just figured, it's normal aches and pains, push through. What I did was I didn't go to the doctor fast enough, and the chickenpox virus, essentially, the zoster virus, damaged that nerve branch to the point where it's irreparable. So now I have a confused nerve that the signal is messed up, and it's constantly signaling I itch, I hurt, something's wrong, when in reality I've had it long enough I know nothing's wrong. But the point is my immune system was in the shitter after that show, or leading up to that show. And that's what allowed me at only, 33 years old, to get shingles, when in reality, that's usually something that happens to someone who is old, their immune system is compromised due to sometimes, cancer, AIDS, things like that. Now, that is not to say that normal people don't get it when their immune system is suppressed, because it obviously happens. I've had a lot of clients who've had to deal with it. Because of my experience with it, I was able to tell them to get to the doctor quickly, get on medication, and get it taken care of so that they didn't have any long-term issues. Point is stress essentially caused or helped to cause my situation. And a lot of other people get sick due to suppressed immune systems coming off of shows. If you have competed for any length of time, or you have friends that do, I'm sure that you've heard the stories. People will get terrible cases of bronchitis, you name it, bronchitis, pneumonia, terrible colds. I remember one time I even had where I would fall asleep in my chair at work while I was talking to my boss in the middle of a conversation, because I was leaning back in my chair and would just literally just go out. That happened for 2 or 3 weeks. The other incident I had was I almost hit a state trooper alongside the highway because I had nodded off while I was sleeping, or while I was driving, and it didn't have anything to do with being tired. It wasn't a sleep issue. So, the point of this chapter in discussing stress is just that, primarily, it's awareness. I want to help people to be aware that when they are getting ready for a contest and they're pulling out all the stops, and it may not even be a contest, maybe you're just really pushing a deadline, you want to get, body fat off, you want to get into the best shape that you can, and you're really pushing your body above and beyond. You need to be aware that you're essentially putting your immune system in a very vulnerable position. The longer you diet and the longer that you put your body in that position, the more likely it is that you're going to have problems. So my best advice, coming off of a show or coming off of a dieting phase, even if you're not doing a show, where you have just kicked ass, really put your body through the ringer, is to first take a break. The first week, take that week and don't train. And I know that's very difficult for a lot of us to do. I don't like to not train either. I feel you. At the same time, it's a week. Okay, nobody loses muscle after not training for a week. And the alternative is even worse, trust me. If you could live with the pain that I live with, you would probably look at it a little bit differently. Bronchitis, pneumonia, respiratory infections, things like that can drag out for not only weeks and weeks, but sometimes months. Strep, mono, a lot of these situations are not uncommon. So to rest, coming off, everybody wants to take advantage of that growth period, that anabolic window and all that bullshit. Trust me, you're going to grow, you'll be fine, and you're going to be far better off if you take that week and rest. You can get back on your diet after a few days so that you're not eating like a hog. But otherwise, let your body rest. Do a little bit of cardio. Come back later that next week. If you can't stay out of the gym for a week, and do some light pumping workouts. Okay, light pumping workouts are not going to dismantle your immune system or really make your situation dire. If you're truly just getting a pump and training light so that you can be in the gym and use your muscles. The problem is most people say they're going to do that. They go in the gym, they can't stand not going heavy, then they start going to failure. It's just a terrible idea. The demographic that I'm talking to, you guys that I'm talking to in my age group, most of you get it. Most of you understand the health ramifications the vulnerable position that you put your body in when you push too far. And it's not a terribly difficult decision to pull back a little bit. At the same time, a lot of us are old schoolers. You know, we don't like not taking that, or we don't like taking the time off from the gym, getting out of our routine, that sort of thing. I get it. The point is, be smart and do it. A lot of stress is, especially day-to-day stress, is a lot of just how you manage it. We all deal with stress. Life is stressful. Raising kids, rotten-ass bastard children like my 16-year-old son. God love him. Well, I don't believe in God, so I guess that was just very knee-jerk. But anyway, somebody's got to love him. I love him. I'm teasing. But he's a giant pain in the ass, and it's constant stress. And it impacts not only me when I'm in a shitty mood after having to deal with him, but everybody around me, including my wife, my other kids, who actually, if they're doing well, and usually are, deserve the attention, and don't get it because I'm irritated at my son. But anyway, I could go on and on about that. My wife is a good example as well. I'm just using my situation to help relate. You know, you guys may be able to make your comparisons or relate to similar situations. I would imagine most of you can. My wife hated her job. She'd been at her job for 20 years. It was great until 9-10 months ago, and it just turned terrible. That becomes stressful. It becomes stressful on you when your spouse is under stress or has a shitty job, or you're dealing with health concerns. If not yours, your kids. If not your kids, your wife. Financial concerns are huge. I think almost everybody deals with financial stress in some form, and it doesn't even matter what you make. I mean, I laugh and say all the time, I'm certainly in a better position financially than I was 10, 15 years ago, but your financial stress never really goes away. You just stress about different size bills or the things the goal that you have to purchase something or get something is really no different than it was 20 years ago. It just costs more. Your vacations, I probably take the same amount of vacations that I took 20 years ago. But my vacations 20 years ago were going back to see family in Michigan, and they were relatively inexpensive. Now we take expensive family vacations. So it's always something. So it's not a matter of, you always want to try to reduce stress as much as possible. That's a no-brainer. But you're never going to be able to reduce it or minimize it to the point where it doesn't exist. So it becomes an issue of managing the stress. How you deal with your stress day to day. I'm not sure that I can give you a list of ways to control stress. I'm bringing it up and discussing it more as an awareness than anything else. And I think from the training aspect of it, people tend to think, well, I've got to train. You know, I've got a lot of important shit to do during the day. Most people listening to this and watching this video have important shit to do during the day too. If it gets to the point where your workout is just and I'm talking just on a daily basis, getting to the gym is just one more massive added stress, and your list is too long and you've got too much shit to do, don't go to the gym. It's a no-brainer. Be flexible with your schedule. Train tomorrow. You can pick up the extra day. You can double up the workout if you need to. If you missed chest and you're supposed to train back tomorrow, just train them together. Okay, I tell clients all the time, training, nutrition, supplementation isn't about perfection. It is maybe, or arguably, when you compete. I get that. But outside of competing, it's not about perfection. It's about consistency. So when you're not able to train one day, you train the next day, you double it up, you get it taken care of. If you miss a meal, you keep going. You don't say, well, it's Wednesday, I'll start my diet again on Monday. That's what normal people do, the mainstream public. And nobody listening to this is normal. when it comes to eating and training and that sort of thing. Consistency, not perfection. Otherwise, your meals, preparing your meals, getting your cardio in, getting your workouts in, it just becomes one more stress on a long list of daily stresses. Point is, keep it in perspective. A little bit of planning and scheduling, you'll still get it done. That's the important part. Don't stress about the training. You got plenty of other things to stress about. Plus, if you do, it can get to your health, put your immune system in a terrible position, and then you end up causing yourself to get sick.